take you back to Final Fantasy XIII, where the main character is Lightning. So I actually just finished playing Final Fantasy XIII for the first time a few months ago. I never had gotten around to it. I started it when it was released, but then I put it down and never picked it up again until a few months ago. And this was an interesting one in the world of voice acting, because similar to 7 Remake, as unfortunate and as dumb as it sounds, the voice acting in 13 was generally stronger with the male characters, as though whoever is casting the girls just cares about, again, like maybe what their tone is or something, not how effective of an actor they are, which I think is dumb. Like they need to change that in the casting if that's a thing that's happening. Whatever it is, the female characters just didn't have depth and they didn't really make me feel much.
Maybe that thing did save us.
I don't feel much if the voice actor is always on the surface of every line, if that makes sense. Like they just, they're not really feeling it, so I don't feel it either. So, okay, an example of this, to me, the best acting performance comes from Sazh.
Hey, let's be rational now.
Do you remember Sazh, who's the guy with the afro and the baby chocobo who lives in his hair?
Yeah. Chocobo, we just can't catch a break, can we?
He's one of the main characters.
Yeah, he's one of the main characters. He was voiced by Reno Wilson.
Don't you even! You think you die, and that's that? You think you die and everything will be sugar and rainbows?
And Reno Wilson, actually, I looked him up. He has a pretty decent list of TV acting credits as well. He was authentic. He was believable. He had good comedic timing, which again, remember, that's not something easy to come by.
Not so tough now, huh? Hey, that wasn't like a challenge now, all right? Hey!
And he was just a breath of fresh air in this kind of early game in the voice acting era. I just thought he was fantastic. He was the top credit in my perspective in this game.
How do I put this? If they don't carry it out, LaCie end up as one of those things. What I'm saying is, if your sister's gone that far, I mean, she might still... How can I... Oh, man. There's no way to turn a LaCie back into a human. Even if she completes her focus, there's no changing her fate. She'll live her life as a Fal'Cie slave.
And then after Sazh, I would say Snow and Hope were good.
Keep fighting and surviving until I find the answers I need.
There are no answers! You're running from what you deserve!
Well, why don't you tell me what I deserve?
The same fate!
And thankfully so was Fang. Fang is a female character, so that was a relief.
It's my fault Grand Pulse ended up like this, isn't it?
But I wasn't in love with Lightning's performance, and I also wasn't in love with her character.
It's a stupid acronym.
So I think she was written poorly, but I also don't think she was cast well.
Thinks he's everybody's pal. Never liked him much.
So, you know, that is what it is. But I don't like to rip on the actors again because it's casting. It's casting that's a problem if the actor sucks, which is such a bummer because she's designed super cool. I wanted her to be an awesome character, have a lot of depth. She totally kicks butt. She just doesn't have much of a personality, right? But I think I have to say, and I hate saying this, but my least favorite voice acting of the Final Fantasy series actually comes from a character in Final Fantasy XIII. And anyone out there who understands good acting and bad acting in a real true sense and has played 13 probably knows exactly who I'm talking about. And it feels so mean to say it, but there just isn't enough time here to talk about how much I did not like the voice performance of the character Vanille.
Come on, Pops. You really got to keep it together, okay?
Again, it really just comes down to casting. It seems to me that she was cast, again, because she had a bubbly sounding voice.
I didn't know you felt that way.
Not for her acting ability, which that's not the actress's fault that she was put in that position. They chose her. What was she supposed to do? Turn down the role, right? She didn't know she wasn't cut out for it.
I know. She belongs in the Barbie movie.
Yeah, because, they're like tongue-in-cheek acting, so she may have fit better there, right? She didn't know she wasn't cut out for this, and I'm sure she's a lovely actress with many talents. I just don't think she was the right person for that character. Maybe any voiced character beyond like a children's show.
Really? Okay. And why's that?
She'd probably be good for like a children's cartoon. She does have a cute voice for that. And then authentic acting to the standard that I hold people is not as important in like a kid's cartoon, right?
I mean, there are certain JRPGs that's their stick.
Oh, totally.
Right? They're like,
and it's annoying.
They're all female. They're all bubbly.
Yeah.
Right. But it's a JRPG.
Yeah.
And that's their niche. That's the place where you cast that.
And that's fine. It just doesn't work for me. And so if they're aiming for like a more westernized audience I'd like to think I'm a relatively sophisticated female. Like that doesn't play. Mm-hmm. If they're aiming for the audience of the typical JRPG anime kind of crowd that doesn't care, then they may have hit the right note, right? It's a casting decision.
Right.
Didn't work for me though. But I mean, in their defense, it would have been a little tricky to find the right person to voice Vanille, since the character was written as a mousy, bouncy girl from the start, which isn't really a common, authentic type of human. So it's hard to find an authentic human who can authentically play the mousy, bouncy girl in a believable manner, if that makes sense. So
smells nice. All naturey.
The problem really kind of begins right there. But I forgot to ask you, what were your thoughts on 13?
So it's funny with 13 because no one really stood out to me.
I see.
Good or bad.
Okay.
And so like 13 is one of those where like, as you've mentioned, right? People have their problems with it for many different reasons. Whether it was too linear, whether it was not linear, whether the combat was good enough, not bad enough. Mm-hmm. Most people aren't discussing voice acting, right?
Right.
Now, here's the funny thing. I never finished it.
Oh.
But I had a similar thought to yours, which is Sazh was the best of the bunch. Mm-hmm. But the difference between Sazh and everybody else was smaller than the difference between Barrett and the rest of the cast in the 7 remake.
Okay.
Barrett stood so much higher, head and shoulders above everybody else in that remake, that it's a marked difference, right? Uh-huh. It's almost like you got a professional in with a bunch of kids. But 13 to me was just like everyone was kind of not bad.
Not memorable.
But they weren't great. They were just okay.
Yeah.
And the gameplay was okay to me. So like the theme here is that 13 was an okay game to me. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. I know some people have different opinions. So like nothing really stood out to me. The other small notes I had here were some scenes, things seemed out of sync with what was going on in the scene. So like
totally agree with that.
Some things felt a little forced. Like,
oh, for sure.
There were like these emotional scenes where they had like the soft music in the background, but the voices did not like fit the mood of the scene that they were trying to portray.
No. What do you plan to do? I need to know.
I told you. Save Sarah, protect Cocoon, and have myself a big, happy family.
That's really all I can call out in terms of like a disjoint experience I had there.
Yeah.
I was neither impressed nor depressed by 13. It just exists.
It just is there.
In my catalog.
It's a thing.
Right.
It's a chair in the series.
It's literally a chair. But again, like
it's literally a chair.
Yeah, it's and I know like that's not like the best like review someone should give it.
You can sit on Final Fantasy XIII.
But maybe someone who's never played it and is kind of on the fence, maybe they'll like that. And they'll be like, no, I actually am cool with that. I like linear. I like that type of combat. And I don't really care whether these voice actors like nail it as long as they're not terrible. Maybe that's their game. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's great. They'll hear it on this podcast and go for it. And by the same token, we already know that there's plenty of people that are pissed off by the combat and the linearity. So maybe the mediocre voice acting is like, that's it. I'm not going to play it. Right. So like maybe we save them time too. Right. But it's not a game where I would say that if I played it, I'm never going to get that time of my life back. Like it's not bad.
There were fun elements of it, but yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, and it also kind of got wacky with like the Lacies and the whatevers.
The Lassie and the whole story was a total farce. Like it was such hot garbage.
She's a Lassie.
What? A pulse Lassie?
The Fal'Cie has her captive.
I hated the story. I hated the ending. I enjoyed some of the characters.
That's why I stopped playing it, because I was like, at a certain point, I was like, I cannot keep all this stuff straight.
Nobody could.
I don't know what's going on.
That's the thing. Like if you go on Reddit, you know how like with every Final Fantasy, there are people who dive into the Final Fantasy lore and can explain like all the things for you that you don't understand.
Right.
With 13, nobody can do it. It's just everybody saying, I don't know, I was confused the whole time.
Nobody wants to.
But nobody can, because there is, like, it's not good. It's bad storytelling, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Like I said, it's not like a game where I'm like, oh no, Jolie, we're going to skip this one. We're just not going to do it and review it. Like, it's not that bad.
No, I enjoyed parts of it. I even enjoyed parts of the combat.
Right.
Strangely enough.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was
Like it was super hard in some ways and challenging, but this isn't an episode about combat, so I won't go into it. But no, I had a good time. I just hated parts of it along the way.
Yeah, there's the theme. The combat, the story, the linearity, the voice acting, maybe not the story, that was bad. The rest of them were just okay. That's my synopsis of 13.
It's the chair.
It's the chair.
The chair of the series.
It's usable. It's not going to fall out from underneath you, but it's not going to be comfortable. You're not going to want to sit in it.
And you don't think about it when you're in a room with it at all.
It's not a recliner. It's kind of like a dinner chair without a cushion on it. There you go.
Yep, perfect.